Dogracer, the characteristics of life on Earth. Alright, here are our learning goals. Describe the characteristics of life that differentiate living things from non-living things. Explain what each letter in the Dogracer acronym stands for. Explain the basic characteristics of the 5 kingdoms of living things. And they are: Archaebacteria and eubacteria are in one kingdom called Monera. Protists, fungi, plants, and animals. Alright, so let's go through our Dogracer acronym. The D in Dogracer stands for DNA. All living things contain DNA. O is for organized. All living things are made in an organized manner. Whether they're a single cell or they're a multi-celled animal like the starfish, all living things have an organized makeup. Alright, now let's talk about levels of organization. Because multi-celled organisms are organized like this. The first level of organization is the cell. The cell is the basic unit of life. Cells are organized into tissues. Tissues are organized into organs. Organs are organized into organ systems. And organ systems are organized into organisms. The G in Dogracer stands for growth. All living things increase in living matter. Now, growth is just getting bigger. Development is a different thing. Development is changing in complexity, right? So if we look at these silhouettes of a growing person, this baby turned into this adult. This adult is just not a giant baby. This adult has developed and changed from the way this person was as a baby, right? Just like you guys, you're growing and getting bigger, but you're also changing. Your bodies aren't the same as they were 2 or 3 years ago. You're not just bigger, but you're also changing in other ways. Alright, the R in Dogracer stands for react or respond. All living things react to stimuli in the environment. Like this puffer fish. If I poke the puffer, he blows up. That's one reaction he has, or one way he responds to stimulus. Adapt or evolve is changing to be able to survive in your environment. There's a difference between adaptation and a reaction. So this hummingbird has adapted over millions of years. These birds have evolved this long beak so that they can drink the nectar out of these long skinny flowers. That's different than a reaction. A reaction would be if I walked up and said boo and the hummingbird flew away. C is for cells. All living things are made of cells, and cells are the smallest unit of life. E is for energy. All living things use energy. And they either make it themselves, they're either autotrophs or producers, or they eat food and they're consumers. One or the other. Alright, and all living things reproduce. Either asexually, like these bacteria that just split in half, or sexually. So let's go through it again. The D is for DNA, O is for organized, G is for growth, R is for react, A is for adapt, C is for cells, E is for energy, R is for reproduce. Every living thing on Earth shows each one of these characteristics of Dogracer. If you have some of them, but not all of them, you're not alive. There are things that aren't living that are organized, that grow, that may reproduce, but are not alive. And you say, what in the heck could that be? Well, how about crystals? Crystals are organized, they grow, and other crystals can sprout from a crystal, so they show some of the characteristics of Dogracer, but a crystal is not alive. So to be alive, you have to have every one of these characteristics. If even one of them is missing, it's not alive. So if I tell you, oh, this thing is alive, then you immediately know that it must have DNA, that it's organized, that it grows, that it reacts, that it adapts, that it has cells, that it uses energy, and it reproduces. Anything alive has to have all those things. So let's do it together. D is for DNA. O is for organized. G is for growth. R is for react. A is for adapt. C is for cells. E is for energy. R is for reproduce. All right, so hit pause, answer these questions, and when you're ready, hit play. What's the difference between growth and development? Growth is just getting bigger, right? Development is changing, okay? Your bodies are changing and they're growing, but growth and development are two different things. What is the difference between reacting to your environment and adapting to your environment? Reacting to your environment is something that you do over a very short period of time, maybe seconds or minutes, maybe even hours. Adapting to your environment is part of evolution. Adapting to the environment involves many years and many generations to change your physical appearance or your manner of living. But it's not something that one individual does. It's something that a population of individuals does over many lifetimes. All right, so let's talk about something called taxonomy. We're going to have a whole unit on this toward the end of the year, but we're just going to talk about it a little bit now. All right, so biologists have developed a way to classify all living things, and it turns out that all living things on Earth, all things that demonstrate the characteristics of Dogracer, fall into these 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protists, fungi, plants, and animals. So let's look at them individually. Monera includes 2 major groups, one called Archaebacteria. Archae means ancient, very old. All right. Bacteria have no nucleus, they're single-celled, and Archaebacteria live in very extreme environments. Right? Here's a hot spring at Yellowstone National Park. This water is hot enough to cook a lobster. If you went swimming in there, you wouldn't come out alive. It's that hot. It's almost boiling. And this yellow around the edges, that is Archaebacteria. Those are bacteria that can live in this extremely hot water. Right? Eubacteria, same as Archaebacteria, except they live in the same environments we do. Right? These are the kind of organisms that cause things like strep throat. This is the strep throat bacteria. These are the type of bacteria that live in your intestines. So eubacteria like the same kind of environments we do. They don't like it too hot. They don't like it too cold. Protists have a nucleus and are single-celled. Right? They may be fairly complex organisms, like this paramecium, right, or this amoeba, or this giardia, but they're just one cell. Fungi have a nucleus. They can either be single-celled or multi-celled, and fungi consume food. They don't make food. And fungi can be mushrooms, they can be mold. Plants their cells have a nucleus. All plants are multicelled, and they produce their own food. They're autotrophs, they're producers. They perform photosynthesis and produce their own food. And animals, our cells have a nucleus. Animals are all multicelled, and all animals are consumers. They may be primary consumers, they may be predators, they may be carnivores and be second or third level consumers, or even fourth level consumers.